Welcome to Hive AV. This tutorial will review Hive Sync and multi-panel control. This is a small beginning to some feature sets that will support divisible rooms and maybe even multiple divisible rooms. But for now, the main purpose of Hive Sync is to just connect two panels. What you see in front of me are two Hive touches, and I'm emulated the panels right here for us to look at, and we'll dive into what this feature is and what its implications are for right now and what we're going to be building in the future. So I set both these panels up with the same equipment, and ideally this would just be one large space with all the devices being shared, and we just really want to sync up the power states. But you could also sync and unsync these panels so that the rooms could be used separately or used together without turning on and off each other, right? So those are the use cases right now, but in the future, we'd like to use our Hive node relay sensor to trigger walls opening and closing, and then the showing of different sources, and then eventually even the syncing of the level controls themselves. Let's take a look at Hive Sync. You can go to Settings, Hive Sync. We're changing the name on 1.4, so it's still called Hive Com over here, but Hive Sync over here. Uh, and you can see right now everything is disabled. Um, Now, these two numbers just need to match for them to talk to each other. It's pretty simple. So you don't have to change a number. As long as they're part of the same group, then they're going to talk to each other. But you might want to change a group if you know that there's multiple of these on different on the network, you know. So it's pretty simple to enable. You just hit the save, change this in a save button. It will do a little dance. And now multicast is enabled on both. And, just to kind of give you a show of what I did on both, we have all the same devices. Um, and then I set up the activities to be the same, right? So we have audio activities controlling the same Odyssey speakerphone. Power is, is controlling. Each one is controlling their own display, right? So two different displays. And then our presets, we have a couple extra ones over here, and I'll go into that in a second. Well, let's just go to our end user interface by pressing the Hive AV button. And you can see, even though the right was already in the off state, now they match, right? And if I press on in one place, it'll press on in the other. And you can see how that works. And you can actually hear the displays in the background turning on. And I can shut it off. Now the pages won't follow each other. If there's feedback for the level control, then yes, you will see it on both sides. But if not, it's only going to go to its last stored spot on the slider. So those are all real considerations. This is a really basic function right now, but there's a little bit more to this that you can add. And let's just show this preset and kind of show these two sync rooms and unsync rooms. And let's add that to this other side too. And you can go down to Hive Touch, and then we'll have this enable multicast. One other note, well, I'll go into that later. And just pressing X will save that. Simply do a copy, unsync. Now I can sync and unsync from either place. But just so you know, me pressing unsync or sync on one panel at this point isn't going to change the other. Now, eventually, this will work a lot different where they'll send messages back and forth, and multicast will really always be turned on. But for now, it's just a simple mechanism to sync or unsync the panels. We can go back to our end user interface, and you can see I could just, by going to presets, oh, actually, let me turn this on first. They're both on. I can go to presets, and you can see I can unsync from one. Right now, the one on the left is unsynced. So now, if I shut off the right, it's not going to affect the left. You see, it's still here, and nothing's happened to it. And I can turn it on, and the sync isn't there. Now, me pressing sync over here isn't going to change the pin on the left, not right now. So if you wanted to resync, you would have to do it from the left. And now both of these should be synced up, and we're back into this state. So let's talk about the future of this feature because it's much bigger than this right now. Right now, it's really just okay, you have two Hive touches and a really big space controlling a lot of stuff. Maybe you have one of these in an AV tech booth. Maybe you have one of these panels in by the rack. There's a lot of use cases for just having two panels that sync their power states and control the same things, right? Um, and but eventually we want this feature to support the dividing and combining of rooms, and specifically for with Versa as a switcher, right? So what we've built in here is we're going to have this Hive node relay. It will eventually have the feature set of the sensors, and so it'll be able to these sensors will be heard by Hive, right? The four different sensors. So if a wall closes or opens, that state change will then drive a preset, kind of like syncing and unsyncing rooms, right? So that, when a wall opens or closes, rooms will then combine and divide or sync and unsync. Well, that gets your power state. The other part of this is with Versa, right? So in a situation like that, where we had these triggers happening to a preset, we could add a, a Versa command to hide the Versa itself, hide show. So this is how we would use that. So a trigger from a wall sensor would then sync or unsync rooms, right? And it would show or hide Versa so that if you had a display in one room, it wouldn't show up in the other room if they were divided, right? Or if you had a source from one room, it wouldn't show up in the other room if they were divided. And if they were divided, their power states wouldn't sync, but and they would be controlling only just their own room. So that's what we're building in the background behind this whole feature set for Hive Sync. So it's going to be much bigger than just this. Also, we'll create an API that will make it easy for other third-party systems to start talking to Hive and also open up the whole feedback options and other types of triggers. Well, again, thank you for your time, and I hope this was informative.